is Dennis Edmonds, of course, the CEO of Kazera Global. Following news that the company has won the judgment in the ongoing legal case with Aftan. So, Dennis, thank you for your time. First of all, how are you feeling about this judgment?
Hi, Mark. Thank you. Delighted. I think any lawyer would tell you that litigation is uncertain. You can never guarantee the results, no matter how strong your case is. We've always known we had a very strong case. It's always been very clear to us that we should win. It is fantastic to have that vindicated and to have a formal order that the money needs to be paid to us, together with the interest. Interest is at 20%, so that's a substantial amount of money, and it carries on building up.
Indeed. No, it's good you've got that judgment in your favour. That's very good. I guess the next steps are, what are the next steps, legal or commercial steps, in your ability to enforce that 11.9 million award, and any timeline on unexpected recovery?
A timeline is difficult. What we're going to do, though, is identify assets which are held by Perdevlei in Namibia. We also, of course, retain the security over the shares. So we would be able to take the mine back and pass satisfaction of the judgment. There are a number of different routes to go. I think the one thing which gives us confidence that we will be able to recover some or all of the amount owed is the fact that, Perdevlei fought this and fought it very hard. You don't bother to do that, in my experience, unless you have something to defend. In other words, assets to defend. So I think the indications are very good, and our informal knowledge is positive in terms of what we think we can recover.
Would it be money that you want? You just pure that 11.9 million, or would assets be something you could take as well?
We wouldn't want to end up owning buildings or operations in Namibia, probably. So we would be, if we did attach assets, we'd be selling them.
Okay, fine. I mean, do you have any sort of insights into their ability to pay, and any contingency plans if they cannot meet the obligation?
Well, as I say, we in terms of what we know we can recover, we have the security over the mine, and one of their assets, obviously, is the contract they have with us. So slightly circular, but we can end up in a situation where we take the mine back. But that wouldn't be probably in full satisfaction of the amount that's owed, so we take the money back and we still have a claim for further money.
Right, okay. And I mean, in terms of how things proceed with the project itself, I mean, could you look to resell it? Have you started those chat talks already?
We've had a number of people approaching us, and there are a number of people that we've put on hold. Okay. It's very difficult to try and negotiate any kind of a deal when you don't know what the award of the arbitrator is going to be. Now that we know that, those objections and difficulties have been removed, and we can move forward. So there are a number of people with whom we will be actively engaging over the next couple of weeks.
So this really does. Is it fair to say that this judgment unlocks effectively a series of next steps, which hopefully can happen in fairly quick succession?
That's exactly right. I think, any judgment, as I said earlier, you can't guarantee what a judgment will be, no matter how confident you might be. Now that uncertainty has been removed, it is definitely unlocks the future.
Good. And I mean, what is the current status, operational status of that Aftan mine? And are you entitled to royalties for any production since that 2022 agreement?
No, don't. Perdevlei's interest has always been on lithium. And because of the legislation in Namibia against exporting bulk, they weren't able to do anything. They also didn't get a lithium license until last year. So, or we didn't get a lithium license. So we now have a lithium license, and we would intend to process, so the bulk prohibition wouldn't affect us. But we also believe that there's a substantial tantalum asset there. So there's lots of things to go into, but right now the mine isn't in production. And so there are no royalties. It hasn't been in production since we sold it, so there are no royalties.
Right. Okay. And there's a question that I picked up from I think an investor here. They're asking about are there any ongoing talks with BEE partners regarding their 38 million obligation, and could this involve Kazera's shares or other agreements or arrangements to monetize their stake?
No, I think that would be unlikely. I think it's going to probably come from somebody outside of our current shareholder base.
Right. Okay. Good. So all in all, I mean, it sounds like you're fairly happy with what's going on at the minute, Dennis. Now that's
No, I think it's a fantastic result. Yeah, it really it opens up the doors, and it fixes the amount of money to which we're entitled. That's a big step forward.
I mean, now that that big judgment is resolved, what would you say the next steps are for indeed the Perdevlei diamond production, HMS sales, and other operations in the company?
Well, in terms of diamond production, we announced a couple of weeks ago that we've got further block areas have been awarded to us. That is very positive and opens up, again, a whole bunch of new opportunities for us. This award here, ultimately, when we get paid out, will enormously strengthen the cash position of the company. What we do with that cash in terms of actual usage, it could well be that we as a board decide that the sensible thing to do is to return some of it to shareholders. It might also be used to accelerate the production and establishment of the plant on 2A, because that mining right application is still outstanding, and we expect to get results on that in the not too distant future. So it very much depends on when we get the money in and where the company is at that time.
Okay. But generally, the operations at Heavy Mineral Sands still going as you're hoping. I know you're in a bit of an optimizing phase. Yeah,
we're continuing with that there. We're looking at improving the actual saleable quality of the sands by removing more of the silica, which is obviously not a particularly complex process, but nonetheless is something which has to be done to achieve the consistency of grades that we would like to have, because that's the way that we increase the bottom line.
Well, thank you very much, as always, for your time. Dennis Edmonds, the CEO of Kazera Global.
Great, Mark. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.